And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Kelly Bates.
Well, here we are, another day with temperatures that are actually pretty much on the money for average. We're at 38 in Providence. That's your average high for this date. So it doesn't feel any, different than it typically would. But we do have this wind out there, and it has occasionally been gusting greater than 20 miles per hour. As a result, it is feeling much cooler. You'll notice our wind direction's northwesterly. That is a cool and dry wind direction for us in southern New England, and it is making it feel like the 20s from Providence to Smithfield. And if you do have evening plans, I would dress for the 20s no matter where you go, because that's indeed what it will feel like this evening. Our satellite radar, we've got a couple of clouds, but our northwesterly wind is helping to keep us dry. No precipitation. In fact, to find it, we actually have to zoom out pretty far. Down towards the south, we have this area of low pressure, and you'll notice this line of reds that pops up right here. That is an area of really intense rainfall and thunderstorm activity. Now, this is mainly a rain event on the northern fringes. It has enough cold air to kick it over to snow. And this is the system that's coming our way for tomorrow. And we're going to see all of those elements included. So here are the three main things we're going to hit for this storm. We do have a winter weather advisory, and that is issued for slippery road conditions expected during the late commute. We have a wind advisory that has been issued for coastal counties for the potential of wind gusts exceeding 45 miles per hour moving in from the south. That also means we have the potential of coastal flooding during the time of high tide. We also have a flood watch that has been issued for two different areas, poor drainage flooding and then river flooding, and that will be in effect through Thursday. So even after the storm passes on Thursday, we will still be dealing with some runoff and river flooding conditions. I'll show you which rivers we're most concerned about in a sec. So high pressure is actually in charge. That's what's brought us our northwesterly wind, but it's moving on out of here. It will open the door for our area of low pressure to then scoot on in, leading off with snow across the region, developing as we hit the afternoon. And then it becomes locally heavy at times. And because it is timing out during the late commute, it could make things very complicated. To make matters even more interesting, we're going to transition from south to north, from snow to rain, and not just rain, those areas of really, really heavy rain. And I wouldn't be surprised if we also got a rumble of thunder in here as well. So there are a lot of things that will be going on at the same time. Our area of low pressure, the one that's bringing the system, will then transfer its energy to a developing coastal storm. That's where all that energy comes from. That brings the big gusty winds and the potential for thunderstorms. So that's the process that we're going to watch from our standpoint from the weather department. Now, as we go through Thursday, we're looking basically leftover some morning showers, and then we just go mostly cloudy to finish the day. So here's what our models are going for. Developing that precipitation as snow, coming down heavy at times, minor accumulations, and then mixing it all over to rain during the time of the late commute. And that's really the hinge to the whole thing. Here's a look at an area of more intense rainfall expected to develop, and then it all leaves by the time we get to Thursday morning. Chance of a leftover shower till about 9, but otherwise, just a good deal of clouds. So here's how much snow we're thinking. Generally along the coastal plain, you'll be the first to transition over to some rain. And as a result, we're looking at a coating, maybe an inch, grassy surfaces, car tops, that's it. During the interior, we are looking at 1 to 3 inches of possible accumulation, primarily north and west of the city, and then 2 to 4 as you head up closer to Worcester. Excuse me. So we do have this rather complicated, multifaceted storm. On top of all of that snow, these are the rainfall totals we're looking at. So we will easily exceed an inch, inch and a quarter, and our forecast winds are really expected to crank up during the overnight time frame. So we've got heavy wet snow and gusts of 40 miles per hour. That means we could see some power outages too. So it's basically a big sloppy mess, a wintry mess coming through southern New England. Here, by the way, is your aerial flood watch, the area shaded in green, and the three rivers we're watching, the Pawcatuck Westerly, the Wood River at Hope Valley, and the Patuxent in Cranston are three major players that whenever we get a lot of rain, typically we keep a close eye on. This is going to be no different. All three are expected to go into minor flood. So for tonight, 26 degrees, your overnight low. It will be partly cloudy and it will be cold. Again, temperatures in the 20s, but that's actually what we typically do. Here's our extended forecast. And we are looking at breezy conditions through Thursday and then drying out once we hit Friday. Tiffany?